go down the 4 bars, dude. Channel 1, first bar.
Channel 1, white.
White, get you where you need to be when you need to be. The
most
workhorse of the
photosynthetic
fucking
efficiency,
industry.
right? Activating both chlorophylls, chlorophyll A and B, and it's going to have amazing photosynthetic efficiency, help a bulk, help your plant actually, eat and, transpire.
There we go. What about channel 2, man?
Channel 2, we're going to go deep reds, right? It's very intense. It's a long wavelength. It's going to help as well with photosynthetic efficiency, but we're also going to be triggering phytochromes there.
So if that full spectrum's the steak and the potatoes, then the deep red is definitely your vegetables.
You're driving it, right? And then I'm going to add in far red and UV.
So that's a little pepper and a little seasoning.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to control. You'll be able to work your first 3 weeks, work your stretch however you want, but also work your finishing.
How often should they use that red in a 24-hour period?
So I have growers right now that are starting at 5 minutes, and they're moving to 15 minutes before the lights are on, paired with some deep red and some whites, right? That's going to be the Emerson effect, helping trigger that plant to wake up, helping it stretch, helping it get ready for a long day of photosynthesis, right? Then it's going to run its whole day. I have growers that argue if they're running the far red during the day or not during the day. It depends.
I smell another white paper getting written.
It depends at how much far red you have in your top light. That's what I truly believe, that too much high fractional far red from what we've seen, that's the second paper, is all about far red. But the second paper that we saw is too much far red at a high ratio is causing you to reach your photo inhibition points faster. What that means is your plants are going to experience different types of stress on its way down from its curve. So you have a curve. It's photosynthetic efficiency curve, right? Your photo inhibition curve. And so people always say, like, add a gram, add a watt, get a gram, add a watt, get a gram. Until when? Until what point you hit diminishing return, right? And so that's when you find that point, that's called net photosynthesis. Okay, then we're adding a watt and not getting a gram back anymore. And now we're getting stress signals. What's the first one that we see in cannabis? This was actually in my paper, and this, I believe I'm the first one to write the photo inhibition curve for cannabis. But the first sign of stress is
stretch.
No, you're going to start seeing leaf curling. You're going to start seeing leaf drooping. You're going to start seeing
stretch comes after.
Stretch is at too high of a ratio, right? And so that's when the plant is. So we're not talking about stretch yet, right? That's a whole different side of this coin. We're just talking about PPFD, right? And so when you add a watt and get a gram, add a watt and get a gram, add a watt and get a gram, until when? That's net photosynthesis.
At some point, light toxicity kicks in.
Yes. Then what's your first sign of stress? Is you see leaf drooping, you see leaf curling, right? You see tip burn. That could be from many different factors, but that you'll start seeing photochlorosis at the tips. Then it's second point, right? You'll start to see, and you don't catch that, and you don't dial your PPFD back. Your second point is you'll start to see hermaphrodites, or you start to see photo bleaching, right? You'll start to see photo bleaching. So you'll start to see now the bud is going to go white, right? And it doesn't have any more photosynthetic value, and now it's hurting that plant, and it's not able to protect the bud anymore, right? And so then what's the next point is hermaphroditism. Now that bud and that plant thinks it's dying.
You stress it to the max.
Yeah, and so it's going to try to reproduce before it dies. And what's the last point of that curve on the way down of the photo inhibition point? Is just death, cellular death.
You did
right?
it. You finally did it.
So what we found out was with a higher, now go back to the red, what we found out with a higher ratio of far red, that you're reaching that curve faster. That curve gets smaller, right? And so you're seeing in strains that never photo bleached out before, you're seeing them go completely white with too high ratios of far red at like 900 ppfd. Where this strain has taken 900 ppfd for this grower for 5, 10, 15 years. And they've had this in-house, and it's never bleached out at 900. But this goes back to our point, is not all PPFD is created the same. What's the composition, right?
All about timing.
And so for us, we stay about less than 5 to 7% strain dependent under far red. And when we say percent, that's the total amount of wattage that is too far red. But this is something that I also challenge all the other lighting manufacturers. When we say 80% deep red or less than 7% far red, right now we go off of wattage because that's like industry standard, but that's not correct in my opinion, right? You could go off the amount of diodes in the fixture. I don't think that's correct either. What I believe is what percent of far red is making it to the canopy? What percent of X spectrum is making it to the canopy? we can just set it at a foot, and then we can start using that as a standard, because not all wavelengths are gonna, you know, travel the same. Not all wavelengths are gonna have the same efficiency. So a watt to blue is not a watt to red, and they're not gonna equal the same PPFD and travel the same. So a watt versus a watt is not a watt,
No matter what.
no matter what.
So let's do
Like
a recap
what?
then. Channel 1, we've got the full spectrum. Channel 2,
Blues and whites,
channel 3,
deep red,
and channel 4.
far red.
All right. Everything you need to get you where you need to be.